Hey guys, welcome to my next episode of Titanium Man Garage and rebuild of this project. So I got some goodies in the mail. I've got my needle and seat for the carb that needed to be rebuilt. And I also got my fuel shutoff valve because the one that's on there, it's an aftermarket. I don't really like it. I'll show it to you. So it comes with this goofy knob on here, and I'm not liking that. Just looking on eBay the other day, and I see this is the new version and aftermarket of a fuel shutoff valve. I'm not crazy about it, and it does leak. When I shut it off, shut the fuel off, fuel still runs into the carb and still goes through the overflow tube right there. You can see that right here. So I'm gonna rip that carb out, rebuild it. I might have to remove the gas tank to make things easier because I'm not gonna remove the cables. And I had a subscriber contact me just the other day about setting float height on these carbs. I wasn't sure which one he had, if he had the HO style or the non-HO style. I have the HO style carburetor. And I know I posted videos in the past on how I was starting to like the Chinese carbs. They were getting better. Bought a couple more probably in the past year, and everyone I had leaked. And I've noticed that a lot of them come with just a straight steel needle without the rubber tip on it. So if your needle that goes into the carb doesn't have a rubber tip on it, I would chuck it. I haven't had one yet that worked. I'm hoping the seat in the carb is good. Otherwise, I do have the seat that goes along with it and the needle. And so as far as what I do with the float height with these carbs is I just kind of eyeball it. I've rebuilt enough of these where I guess I know where the height should approximately be. Sometimes I just a little tab. And when I get that carb apart, I'll show you what I mean. The little tab's not bent down far enough, the needle won't seat, and then fuel will go out your overflow tube at the bottom of the carb. Or your needle's bad, one of the two. So, all right, let's get to this. I'll stop yammering away and show you what I'm gonna do. So one thing I don't like about these aftermarket shutoffs is there's a plastic cap on here and then the screws behind it. I'm assuming this doesn't pull off like a stove knob. So I'm gonna drill that out and try to get it to pop out. There, see, this popped right out. Now I can get to that screw. There she comes. All right, so then I'm gonna take those hose clamps off, and for those of you wanna learn how I stop fuel from flowing while I'm changing these out, you just crimp them like that. And you take this nut off, which I'm gonna have to get a wrench for, spin that off after I remove those, and this thing just pops right out. Pull those down. Look at that, it just broke. So I already replaced the fuel lines. You guys ever see those blue plastic fuel lines? A lot of guys say they love them. After sitting on this unit for so long, they got hard and brittle, and I literally had to cut them off of there and got splashed in the face with fuel, which was not fun at all. So yeah, I prefer the fuel lines I got from an auto parts store. Would go on a truck or a vehicle. All right, So I'm going to take that nut off, pull this out, and then install the new one. All right, also make sure you got the right fuel shut off. Some point this way, some point the other direction. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Put that on here. Goes to your fuel pump. New nut on. Oh, that's like fall off too. Work smarter, not harder, right? Should have spit on it first before I stuck it in. Alright, get this on in. Cut that too. Normally don't go in this hard. So what I'm going to do, only because normally there's those metal clamps, but the last guy put actual hose clamps on here. I'm going to pull this out. That way they'll be facing inward. Alright, that's all done. This back on. Snug. Alright, there you have it. All put together nice, now it'll actually shut off like it should. Reserve, on, off, OEM. Alright, next is the carb. All right, let's see if I can't get the carb off without removing the fuel tank. Another way to do this is if you know, the fuel tank is in the way, you can just loosen these bolts, push it up a little bit. And of course, these things are always a bear to get back in because the intake boot right here, so it's pretty hard and crusty, so it's always hard to push back in. All right. All right, let's see what we can do here without knocking the camera over. Get everything loose, get that out of the way, pull that up. Have to remove the vacuum line and the fuel line. That's why loosening these up or having the tank out of the way is actually kind of helpful. It's a little easier. I did remove the fuel line already because I knew I was gonna be working on this thing. There we go. It's the vacuum line. Yep. Gas out of there. All right, now without the tank in the way, normally I would put a board across. Just to make things easier. You guys even see me here. Doing this today without my cameraman, so you guys are gonna have to bear with me. Alright, so to get those stubborn screws out, I'll use a punch like this, and it knocks the screws loose. They actually might be loose because I took this off once before. So, just give it a shot. Yep. Get you like the tray here. That out. Make sure it's clean in there. I like to clean that out. Starting to get warm. It was like 32 degrees in here before until the heat kicked on. All right, so on these HO carbs, they have the plastic floats, and your needle is right there, and then there's an O-ring that goes around this thing when you pull it off. So I'm going to pull this off, and right there is where that tab is that I was talking about that you can bend down. So pull that off, don't let it break it. Bring this over to the table and show you guys what I got. So that needle and seat is a little, or the needle is a little hard to get out. You can see the tab is bent down already. It's probably bent too far. So get that out of there. And then usually you have to use a needle nose pliers to get that back in there. All right, so I got my new one. That tab looks a little bent, so I'm going to bend it up a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and install the new one. So you got to fish it in the hole first and get it on the tab, which is usually a pain, especially when I'm trying to video this for you guys. Alright, I might have to do it, hold it up a little more. Alright, I got it in there. Also want to check that O-ring, make sure that's not damaged or it's leaking. And then I'm going to go ahead and install it. Alright, so like I said, I went through the carb already. There is a jet here. Take out with a Phillips screwdriver. I took that out, cleaned it up really good. It was plugged. And now I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. Alright, so on these needles, there's like a little tiny plunger on the top. And this one's seized up. If it doesn't push up and down, I think it's supposed to expand this. Or it's just a cushiony stop. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure. And I'll show you how I set things. So I just kind of eyeball it. With this, you gotta push down. It should spring up. So, you know, the bowl is actually hitting the bottom, so I'm going to push down on that tab a little bit. So the floats are almost level, like right there, and then it stops at a decent spot right here. All right, so I'm going to grab a screwdriver. Push on this little tang here, push it down a little bit, and then I should have my float height set. Okay, so I pushed on that tang, and just to show you guys, I have to put pressure on this. You know, it's sitting level. Got some play on the pin. The little plunger is catching it and stopping it. That's about where I like it set. I'm gonna put the bowl back on. Make sure you put the overflow tube on and don't plug it with a screw like some guys do when it leaks. So that'll just flood your engine. I'm gonna put this back together and let's see if it leaks. And if it does leak, well then I just repeat the process. Go back in, adjust that little tab again until the needle seats perfectly, and I'm good to go. All right, so I got it back together, and normally I like to replace these boots when they get kind of dry like that. I just want to get this motor fired up, see what it does. So what I like to do is spray a little WD-40 in there, kind of loosen it up. That way that carb's going to slide right on that boot. All right, guys. So I got put all back together. She slid on nice. I just threw the air box on for now, just to fire it up to see if it leaks. That's my jump pack beeping. I'm about to fire this thing up. And keep in mind, it's going to take probably like 10 cranks to get this thing to fire up. Because now you got to get gas all the way through everything, all the way back up and into the carb. So let's see what we got here. Choke. Come on, baby. I'm gonna have to adjust that screw. It's not. Still getting fuel up to it. All right, I can't do this with one hand, so hang on, guys. Let's see if I can get this bad boy running. Every time you remove the carb, like I just did, you're always going to have some kind of adjustment, because when you put it back together, it's going to throw off your cables a little bit. My first time starting this thing up, it is smoking a little bit. I kind of jumped ahead. I did rebuild the motor. I'll show you that video. It runs pretty good. Oh, let me show you this. This is why the head gasket leaked. Chinese junk. That's garbage. That's the little issue with the belt. That fixed. It runs good. Alright guys, hope you like this video. Sorry my camera action was a little sloppy today. I'll do better next time.